recording. So, this is the energy update for this week, and I just want to say thank you to all of you that are joining live and those that will watch this later, and greetings to everyone. And as you know, we've just moved through months of continuous expansions in our lives, individually and collectively, right across the globe. So, and throughout this year, well, any year, but in particular this year, certain dates were and are designated for specific ascension activity. But each of the dates, from the recent solstice to the total solar eclipse to the upcoming lunar eclipse next week, and then the Lion's Gate, have really heightened activity, both before, during, and after each event. And so for us that are holding the light and doing the work, there's a really great need to stay present every day, and if we can, every moment. And I know that's not always possible. I don't find it always possible. But we need to try and be in the moment for what we have to be. And, you know, that will vary for each of you depending on what your mission is. But since the solstice, we've taken really considerable leaps in the ascension process, even if it doesn't quite feel like it yet, owing to the sort of battering some of our bodies and emotions and our energetic fields have had to endure. However, a new frequency, a new celestial key code has streamed from our Galactic Centre and into the collective here on the planet. And this has created a burning through of like the ceiling or the membrane that has been there for a very long time. And through these very systemized frequency waves, because they are very coordinated, these frequency waves and geometric galactic patterns, if you like, the shock waves have literally blitzed Earth's electromagnetic field, and in doing so has literally reformed our own energetic structure, which is allowing even more of our high dimensional aspects to begin merging into our earth bodies. And as we receive and virtually percolate in the massive plasma waves of God or cosmic consciousness that's coming to us, we've all been exposed to the experience of having our cosmic consciousness entering into the body consciousness for maybe hours at a time for some of you. And this may be experienced as a sort of increase in cell vibrations, a sudden onset of it within the body, and a feeling of lightness and expansion in which an incredible amount of knowing is present. And where does this knowing come from? Well, as I've talked about before, the light frequencies are information. And thus, to embody our higher dimensional selves, our higher light versions of ourselves, we bring in more light, which is information, into our physical bodies. And of course, this will vary depending on how far along your journey you are and how consciously you've been doing your clearing and healing and connecting work. And so this has created a situation where you may have experienced days of, or moments or hours of extreme bliss, and other moments of great challenge requiring your attention. And we've all experienced both. All of this activity up to this date has truly deleted layers of cognitive reference points from this lifetime. And for those who are new to this, it's actually deleted some of your deepest ideas of truth, to shift them to the higher levels. And it may have even had the effect of sending you spinning and sort of spiraling up an entirely new evolutionary pathway, or jumping up into a entirely new timeline. And if this is the case for you, then you will now need to find new reference points within your times of meditation and going within those times when you're in those states of embodiment, which may also come as a sense of getting pulled out of your body. And we integrate that in our times of meditation and going within and connecting to nature and doing your breathing, really any practice of connecting to the divine cosmic fields that we can possibly do and fit in will assist to open a doorway for you to download and to develop a new higher level of coherence and resonance with our soul selves. And the coherence is that embodiment. So be mindful also that the waves have been and are and will be ever increasing in intensity. Because we're not going to go backwards here, guys. We're going to continue to be pushed to the limits physically and in every other way. And so all of us, light workers, gatekeepers, and on our missions need to become very proficient at stabilizing our energy fields within these continuous and ever ascending spirals. So, but despite these growth challenges, the really exciting thing is that we are developing brand new frequency fields of and for our progressive expansions. And these portals and gateways of energy we find ourselves challenged with virtually weekly at the moment, and even some of them daily, are expanding us at a really unprecedented rate. And my answer to everything during these times, as usual, is drink plenty of high frequency water and ground. It truly is essential. And it's good to note also that at every portal, gateway, and all universal data transmissions of these high dimensional energies, there are sort of sentries at the gates to ensure that only those in a state of divine heart-centeredness and self-unity and with a more stabilized frequency may pass through the gateways into the higher light and deeper into our infinite self. And this is important because the passing through these gateways in an unconscious vessel is not in keeping to the greater good of all and the divine plan. So we consciously get ourselves into these divine heart spaces, and then we travel through these gateways and these portals, which is why we gather and do, the activations that we do. And we're speeding forward into the time known as our eternal inheritance and freedom. And this is really the reason we are being so comprehensively prepared to carry our new physical vehicles and our new consciousness across into the higher light. And we know the higher light is information and higher timelines. And it is a case of going in the physical. So our physical bodies are copying it as it's being really, really upgraded. So at this point, as the way showers, you guys and like us as the way showers are now truly obligated to our soul's embodiment. And we achieve this if we consciously work to form an attuned grid, a field, our energy field, a consistent and solid frequency field within our bodies, within our hearts and our minds, until we then have a built unified field between our hearts and our minds and our body consciousness, whilst also being and resonating and embodying our powerful, enlightened, and magnificent multidimensional aspects of ourselves. So yes, we are the new human forming in this very moment of now. And we are truly brave, and we are truly courageous, and we are deeply, deeply loved. That feels good. And during this period, we've been on a journey of really a further self-discovery and exploration of what is holding us back, because it's not going to stay hidden. It's coming up for us to have a look at, whether we wanted it or not. We've been challenged to face truths about ourselves, to stand up and be responsible as the creator of our lives. We are being challenged to see old and current situations with brand new eyes, new awareness and perspectives. And we all receive prods, which are sometimes shoves, from within to make new choices, to take a new road. We were purged, upgraded, and infused with new light codes, which integrated and raised our vibrations. You know, are you already one with all your fragmented selves? Have you woven your fragmented filaments of self back into your tapestry, back into your heart? And if so, welcome to the next phase. You are now embarking, supported by these magnificent high frequencies, on a journey to meet and work consciously with the higher aspects of your being. And this is where the fun and the magic really start. And you'll know it when you have reached it. This re-embodying of the magnificent you. As we expand into higher realms of our experience, embodying and being even more as the divine being we are. We're transcending the old human experience simply by the embodiment of more of our galactic selves. We're integrating all aspects of ourself into a whole and living as divine in human form, the new human. And as you move through this month of July, and I am being asked to remind you, and I say remind you because as light beings, you already know this information, although in human form you may have forgotten some of it. And that is that there is no beginning and there is no end to this. You are simply energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. Therefore, you are eternal, a creator being, and you create everything in your life. Every situation in your life is self-created. And more, each of us are taking back our power. You know, waking up to who we truly can be as divine and moving forward, creating now according to our soul's purpose, because we've embodied more of that soul. We've connected with that. We're beginning to utilize the fact that we have that knowing and that direction from our soul's purpose. So instead of focusing on an end game that does not exist, you are eternal. Be present in the moment and just try and have fun with your process. You know, be as a little child, be like, you know, excited and open, and we really need to remember that this lifetime's just a temporary blip in your existence. And you're traveling through this dimensional shift with hyperspeed now. Hyperspeed. And it's paramount to pay attention to what is happening within you and around you. And as you do that, try to just focus on the portions of your reality that are based on love. As in, every moment we are determining the direction of our trajectory. So we want to do that, determine it through the areas that are based on love. And so July 16th or 17th here, we've got the Capricorn full moon eclipse, the initiate. The goat always gets to the top of the mountain and sees the whole view. So this is our opportunity through the next eclipse. As it's in the Capricorn, the goat always gets to the top of the mountain and sees the whole view. And we're beginning to see the evidence of that, of all the hard work, all the suffering, all the sacrifice, all the determination to love no matter the experience we are in. We're beginning to see it bloom like never before and flower. And as then we come into Sun in Leo, the sign of the sun, and heart, where the light of the Creator shines so bright for us to rejoice in all our surrender, we move into the Lionsgate portal on the 8th of the 8th, the double infinity. My favourite time of year. And so with the planetary alignments at the time of the full moon lunar eclipse next week, it's going to stir up more deeply held unconscious memories and patterns for clearing out, but will also bring in these incredible, inspiring new visions and intentions for the future. During the eclipse event, we will be connecting more to the feminine warrior and know this frequency as alive and focused and well within us and upon the planet. And the other major theme of the lunar eclipse next week involves abuse of power, in particular aggressive, patriarchal, authoritarian sort of power. So there may be more dark secrets exposed, and I mean that on a planetary level more than an individual level. I know that there's been a lot of things come to light recently. I feel there's going to be a lot more come through with this lunar eclipse. And so I know for some of us, many of us, there's a lot more going on in our own private missions with this work. And I know for myself personally, a lot of that cannot be out in public arena at the moment for obvious reasons until it's completed. And a lot of that work I am completing at the sacred sites. And we have to really not expose the private elements of our mission at the moment, as we cannot allow any interference at this time to disturb what will occur, and for the protection of those whose mission it is to play their part in it. So Yes. So I invite you to join me next week on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. because that's the night of the full moon lunar eclipse. And I'm hoping that it won't be difficult for you to join on Wednesday instead of Thursday, but I would really like to run the session on the actual day of the eclipse. Because it's where we will be going, really catapulted through that portal with pure intent by gathering and doing that work. So yes, lots happening.